Orbital 7 was glowing with lights and banners as species from across the galaxy arrived for the great celebration. It was a historic day. Earth had finally joined the Galactic Concord, and a formal gala was organized to honor the new members. Tamil was a young human researcher assigned to the Earth science delegation. He had never been to space before this mission, and now he stood among aliens, tall and short, some with fur, others with scales or feathers. He felt excited, but also nervous. He wore a blue blazer he found in an old shop back home. It had silver embroidery on the back. He thought it looked classy and respectful for such a high-level event. His translator chip worked perfectly, and he tried to stay out of trouble as he moved around the gala dot. As he walked near the central hall, he accidentally bumped into someone. She was taller than him, with green and bronze scales to long arms and bright yellow eyes. Her name was Sari. She was a respected Velari diplomat known for her sharp mind and quiet strength. Tamil quickly apologized. "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there," he said. Sari looked at him, her eyes catching the silver symbol on his back. Her expression changed from casual to serious. She stepped forward and gently placed her hand on his chest. Tamil froze. He thought maybe this was some kind of greeting ritual, so he just smiled nervously before he could speak. A nearby AI assistant blinked and spoke aloud. "Bonding confirmed. Genetic resonance detected. Velari human match complete." Tamil stared at the AI. "What did it say?" Sari looked surprised too, but did not remove her hand. Others nearby turned to look. A few Velari gasped. One of them whispered, "He wore the sacred mark." She followed the right. Tamil was confused. "Wait, what sacred mark? What right?" Security drones arrived quickly, surrounding them both. A medical bot scanned them and beeped. A second voice came through the AI system. "Biological link forming. Early fusion recorded. Warning. Cross-species pairing initiated." Now Tamil really panicked. "I didn't pair with anyone. I just bumped into her." Sari spoke calmly but firmly. "You were the ancient Velari bond symbol. You approached me. I completed the gesture. But I didn't know. I bought this jacket from a shop. It's just a design," Tamil said, his voice rising to the Velari. It didn't matter. To them, intention was less important than action. Wearing that symbol in public was a sacred act, a signal that one sought a life bond. Touching during that moment confirmed it. Within minutes, a report was sent to the station council. A human and Velari had bonded. Sari, a respected figure, had accepted the match. Tamil was listed as the other parent. The news spread quickly. Inside the station later that evening, Tamil sat alone inside a clear quarantine room. 2 guards stood outside. A doctor came in with a scanner and offered him food. "I didn't do anything wrong," Tamil said again. "It was just a jacket." The doctor smiled kindly. "We know. But the Velari laws are ancient. They see symbols as actions. This is very serious to them." Tamil asked the main question on his mind. What happens now? Before the doctor could answer, a large screen turned on. The Earth ambassador appeared. Her name was Marla, a woman with short black hair and a sharp voice. "Tamil, listen carefully. We are trying to calm things down. The Velari consider this bond real." Sari confirmed it. "Their medical team believes something biological is happening. You are the first human to ever cause such a reaction." "I didn't do anything," he said again. "We believe you," Marla said. "But they have old customs. You accidentally stepped into one." Tamil rested his head in his hands. How did a jacket cause all this? Back in the Velari wing of the station, Sari sat with her elders. They asked her many questions. Did she mean to complete the bond? Was she certain of the reaction? Sari answered honestly. She said she believed the sign was real. She followed the rite because it was her duty. "But he is human," one elder said. "I know. But the response was there. I felt the bond form." She replied. One younger Velari leaned forward. "Maybe the humans are more than we thought." The Velari elders agreed to honor the bond. They sent a message to Earth. The connection could not be undone. Breaking it would be seen as dishonor. By morning, every corner of the station buzzed with talk of the incident. Some believed it was a sign of unity. Others feared it meant the Velari and humans were not as different as once thought. Inside his room, Tamil watched the news headlines scroll past. Human and Velari form first cross-species bond, galactic concord shaken by unexpected pairing. What does this mean for interspecies law? Tamil leaned back against the wall and sighed. This has to be the weirdest day of my life. He whispered. Just then, Sari entered the room. The guard stepped back to allow her through. She held her hands folded, her voice calm. I am here because our laws say I must be. I will help you understand. We are now connected. That is not easy for me either. Tamil looked up at her. I don't know what to say. I didn't mean for this to happen. I believe you, Sari said. But it happened. Now we must decide how to live with it. Their eyes met for a moment. Two people from different species, caught in a mistake neither wanted, but bound by rules older than both their worlds. Outside the window, the stars continued to shine, and across the galaxy, more were watching. Tamil sat across from Sari in the observation room, still confused, still trying to understand what had just changed his life forever. The room was quiet, except for the low hum of air filters. Outside the glass, security officers watched, making sure nothing went wrong. Sari kept her eyes on Tamil. She was calm, but it was clear she was also thinking deeply. I know this is strange to you, she said. It is strange for me too. Tamil nodded slowly. Why can't we just cancel the bond? Say it was a mistake. Sari shook her head. In Velari culture, a bond formed and the right cannot be broken. It is part of our law. My people have already confirmed it. They believe it was fate. Tamil leaned forward. But I'm human. I didn't know the rules. It was a jacket from a second-hand shop. I understand, Sari said. But intention does not change what the right has started. Scientists from Earth's medical team entered, holding a small scanner. She greeted both of them and asked Sari for permission to run a few checks. Something is happening at a cellular level, the scientist explained. We're not calling it pregnancy yet, but the scans show energy transfer, some kind of bonding. Process has started inside Sari's body. It's not just symbolic. Tamil blinked. You're saying she's actually changing? Yes, the scientist said. Her cells are adjusting. They've merged with something in your DNA. It's new. We've never seen anything like it. Sari didn't react strongly. She had already guessed it. Her body felt different since the touch, warmth in her chest, light pressure near her core. She had been trained to know what that meant in her culture. It was the beginning of life formation. Tamil rubbed his face. This is going to be all over the news again, isn't it? It already is, the scientist said gently. Across the galaxy, headlines exploded. News drones outside the station picked up the story. Social media on hundreds of planets lit up with images of the moment. Humans and Velari, a bond, a possible child. Some cheered it, others called it unnatural. On Earth, many were curious, some were excited, but not all reactions were kind. A few feared what this could mean for human evolution, politics, or religion. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council sent a formal message. They requested a full investigation. It wasn't about punishment. They just wanted to understand how a human, without intention, had triggered one of the oldest Velari traditions. Tamil and Sari were moved to a private section of the station. It was quiet and clean, but they were not allowed to leave. The council called it protective quarantine. Guards stood at every door. Drones scanned every corner. Everything was recorded. Inside, they had time to talk. Tamil asked questions. What happens if this continues? Do we stay here forever? Do we have a child, raise it here? Sari answered calmly. The bond means we must remain close. If I separate from you too soon, it might affect the process. Velari children need balance from both life forces during early growth. Tamil sat quietly for a moment. I didn't ask for this, but I'm not going to run. If something is forming, I want to know more. Sari gave a small nod. That is wise. A few days passed. Tests continued. Tamil and Sari learned more about each other. They came from different worlds but found some similarities. Both liked learning. Both preferred peace over conflict. Sari enjoyed listening to human music. Tamil started studying Valari history. In one moment of calm, Tamil asked, "Have your people ever bonded with another species before?" Sari shook her head. "No, our biology is very careful. We can only bond when our core light recognizes the other as true. That has only happened with Valari before." "Then why me?" "I do not know," she said. The mystery deepened. The next day, a group of galactic scientists arrived. They were allowed to examine the data. Some were skeptical. Some were amazed. One old scientist, a gray-skinned Reuven, said, "Perhaps humans have something ancient inside them, something not yet known, something even Valari light can see." The idea was simple, but powerful. What if humans were more than they appeared? What if Earth's DNA carried something unique that other species could not detect before? As the test continued, Sari began to show signs of real change. Her skin pattern shifted slightly. Her body temperature adjusted, and then one morning, a gentle pulse was detected inside her. Tamil was called immediately. The doctor spoke clearly. "It's not just a possibility anymore. Sari is pregnant. The process is early, but it's real. It's happening." Tamil's mind went blank. He sat down, silent. Sari stood beside him. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sari placed her hand over her chest. A traditional gesture of truth. "This bond has given life. It cannot be ignored now." Tamil looked at her. Slowly, he nodded. "I'm here," he said. Quietly, "I don't understand everything, but I'm not walking away." The guards were informed. The council was alerted. A meeting was scheduled. By the end of the day, one message was clear across the galaxy. A human and Valari had created something new, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The next morning, Tamil woke up to the sound of a soft chime in his room. The light inside the walls slowly turned blue, a signal that someone important had arrived. A voice came through the speaker. "Tamil, the Galactic Council has arrived. You and Sari must come to the main hall." Tamil sat up and looked across the room. Sari was already awake. She was standing near the window, looking out at the stars. "They're here," Tamil said. Sari turned and nodded. "Yes, we must be ready." Tamil changed into the formal white uniform given by the Earth delegation. Sari wore a deep silver robe with soft blue lines, which showed her role as a bonded Valari. Her hands gently touched her middle. Something inside her was growing. As they walked down the quiet corridor, guards followed. Doors opened without sound. The main hall of the station was wide, with glass walls showing space beyond. Inside, members of different species sat in a circle. Some had scales. Some had wings. Some floated above their seats. In the center, 2 seats had been placed. One for Tamil. One for Sari. A tall, 4-armed council leader named Isha stood to speak. Her voice was calm but strong. "We welcome the bonded pair. You stand before the council today not as criminals, but as holders of a new event. Something not seen before in all our records." Tamil nodded politely. Sari placed her hand over her chest and greeting. Isha continued. "We have studied your scans. We have reviewed your statements. It is clear the bond was not forced. It was and known. But now, a child is forming, a being that holds to different lights." Murmurs spread around the room. Some members were curious. Some seemed unsure. A Krolan scientist stood next. He had 6 eyes and spoke in short, sharp words. "We do not question their honesty, but this union must be studied carefully. The child might be powerful or unstable." Tamil spoke for the first time. "I never wanted this to be a problem. I didn't know the jacket I wore had a symbol. I had no idea it would cause a bond." The council listened. I spoke after him. "But now that it has happened, we must face it with truth and respect. Life is forming. I will protect it." A human representative stood. Her name was Alia. She had a calm voice and looked proud. "Humans have always believed in learning through experience. This bond was not planned, but it may be a chance to bring our worlds closer. If the child is born, it will belong to both races. That means peace must guide us now." A few council members nodded. Others remained silent. A new voice came from the side of the room. It was an elder Valari leader. His name was Vorn. He wore dark green robes and walked slowly with a long staff. In all our history, he said, no Valari has ever bonded with another race. Some may see this as a break in tradition, but I see it as something greater. He looked at Sari with kind eyes. The child inside you is a gift. If it was not meant to happen, it would not have happened. We must accept that the universe has chosen. Silence filled the hall. Isha stepped forward again. The council will take 3 days to decide the next steps. Until then, you must remain on the station, protected, watched. We must ensure the child remains safe. Tamil and Sari agreed. That night, they sat together in the quiet garden section of the station. Small glowing plants gave off soft light. No one else was there. Tamil took a deep breath. What if they don't let the child be born? Sari turned to him. Then we must remind them what it means to be alive. Life is not something we control. It is something we guide. Tamil looked at the stars. Do you think people will ever accept this? A human and a Valari? I think some already do, Sari said, and some always will not. But it doesn't change what is true. They sat in silence for a while. Inside her, the tiny life grew stronger. The next day, a young Valari visitor was allowed to meet them. She was part of a peace education program. Her name was Rila. She asked many questions. Does the child speak yet? She asked Seri. Seri smiled. Not yet, but one day it might speak both our languages. Rila looked at Tamil. Will you stay with her always? Tamil paused. I think I will. I didn't understand it before, but now I know it matters. The child was not just a mystery anymore. It was becoming real to him. In the following days, messages came from across the galaxy. Some people were afraid. Others sent support. One message from a human school read, Dear Tamil and Sari, we believe your baby will change everything. We hope it grows up strong and kind. Sari saved that message on her device. Finally, the third day came. The council gathered again. Isha rose to speak. We have debated. We have studied. The council agrees on this truth. The bomb was not a crime. The child is not a threat. It is a new beginning. Cheers rose from some of the seats. Others stayed quiet, but no one objected. We offer both of you protection. We will help raise this life. You may stay on the station or choose a peaceful world to begin your family. Tamil looked at Sari. She looked back at him. We'll stay, he said. For now, there's still so much to learn. Sari agreed, and this place is where it all began. As they left the chamber, people watched with new eyes, not as strangers, not as troublemakers, but as parents of something the galaxy had never seen. The days after the council's decision passed calmly on the space station. Tamil and Sari were now under official protection. Guards followed them quietly, but not in a harsh way. They had been given a larger living space and access to special food and care for Sari's health. Still, something in the air felt different. People on the station stared longer than usual. Some whispered in corners. Some tried to avoid eye contact. A few came forward to speak kind words, but others kept their distance. Tamil noticed it first during a walk through the garden dome. He and Sari walked hand in hand. The soft lights of the garden made the plants glow, and the artificial wind gave a sense of peace. But as they walked past a group of Valari officers, the voices stopped. The officers turned away, pretending not to see them. They were talking about us, Tamil said in a low voice. Sari nodded slowly. Yes, they are afraid. Some believe the bond broke their traditions. Others think the child will not belong anywhere. But the council accepted us, Tamil replied. Even so, Sari said softly, not every heart listens to rules. Later that night, a message came through the station network. It was unsigned and hidden behind a false name. Separate now. End the bond. The child is not welcome. Tamil showed the message to the station guards. They traced the sender, but it had come from a hidden terminal used by many visitors. Someone is hiding behind the shadows, the guard said. Seri sat quietly after hearing the report. She touched her stomach and looked worried. This is not just about us anymore. They fear what our child will become. Tamil reached for her hand. Then we protect it, no matter what. The next day, Tamil was invited to speak to a group of young science students from different species. They were curious, full of questions. Is it true a human and Avalari can share a life form? Asked one. Yes, Tamil answered, but it happened by accident. Still, it is real. It grows strong every day. A Kaldari boy with glowing eyes asked, what will the baby look like? Tamil smiled. No one knows. Maybe both of us. Maybe something new. But it will be loved. As the students clapped, someone at the back of the room stood. He wore a gray cloak and had no name tag. Not everyone agrees with your love story. He said sharply, some think this was a mistake, and mistakes must be corrected. Before the guards could reach him, the man slipped out a side door and disappeared. Sari was waiting when Tamil returned. I felt something today, she said, a strange pull, as if someone or something was trying to reach into me. Tamil frowned. Reach into you? Like a message? No, she said, more like pressure, like someone trying to break a door from the outside. Tamil quickly contacted the medical bay. They ran full scans. Nothing was physically wrong, but a strange energy reading surrounded Sari's body. It pulsed softly, like a quiet knock. This is not natural, the lead doctor said. We believe someone is using a hidden frequency, low enough to avoid alarms, but strong enough to disturb her. Why? Tamil asked. To scare her, or to harm the life inside. That night, guards were increased outside their quarters. The station council began a silent investigation. Only trusted officers were told. Even then, rumors began to spread. Some said a rogue group of Velari elders wanted to stop the birth. Others believed jealous researchers were trying to control the child for experiments, but no proof came. Inside their room, Sari tried to stay calm. She sat with Tamil, her head resting on his shoulder. Do you regret it? She asked him. Wearing that jacket, meeting me, starting this. Tamil didn't answer right away. He looked at her with steady eyes. No, he said, because even if this ends tomorrow, I felt something with you I never felt before. We didn't plan this, but maybe the universe did. Sari smiled slightly. You still believe in things you cannot see. Sometimes, he said, because now, one of those things is growing inside you. Outside, in the shadows of the docking bay, the man in the gray cloak was speaking to someone through a dark screen. They're stronger than expected, he said. But we still have time. The child hasn't formed completely. If we break the bond now, it might not survive. A cold voice answered from the screen. Then do it soon, or we send others. Back on the station, another letter arrived. This one was not hidden. It was from the Grand Library of VLARI. To Sari and Tamil. We do not support the actions of those who wish to harm you. Some of us believe your child is the next step in our evolution. If you ever need shelter, the old forest world of Avella stands ready. Keeper Doral, guardian of truth. Tamil read the message aloud to Sari. Someone believes in us, he said. And maybe more will, Sari replied. But even as hope returned, danger continued to grow. In the final lines of the day's report, the station guards warned Tamil, we found strange energy near the lower levels. Someone is hiding there. We will search at once. Tamil and Sari stood close together, ready for what would come next. For their child, for their bond, for the truth. The lower levels of the space station were not like the rest. The lights were dim. The walls were old and rusty in places. Fewer people walked those halls. And the ones who did kept their eyes low. It was here that the unknown energy was found. Commander Rel, the lead security officer, walked through the lower quarter with 4 guards. Their scanners buzzed quietly as they passed each section. The signal they were tracking was weak, but strange. It came and went like a wave. We need to find the source, Rel said. Before it finds them, he was speaking, of course, about. Tamil and Essie are up in their quarters. Tamil stayed close to Sari. She was resting now, her hands over her stomach, her breathing calm but deep. She had been tired for hours. The strange energy had drained her more than the doctors expected. Tamil looked at her and felt a deep anger. Someone was trying to harm the one he loved and the life they had created together. Just then, the door chimed out. It was Commander Rel. "I came to update you," Rel said in a low voice. "We found signs of a small machine hidden in the vent system. It was sending energy toward your room." Sari sat up slowly. "Why would someone do that? Why not just come here directly?" Rel looked serious. "Because they want to stay hidden, and because the machine is not just Velari tech. It is human parts as well." Tamil was shocked. "A human helped build it." "We think so," Rel said. "But we can't prove it yet. We are checking every visitor record from the last 2 months." Sari spoke calmly. "Then we need to leave the station." Tamil nodded. "We'll go to Avella. The keeper said they would welcome us." Rel didn't argue. "That may be best. But the journey is long. You'll need protection." A plan was made. In 3 days, a small transport ship would carry Tamil and Sari to Avella. Only trusted crew would be on board. The departure would be secret, but nothing stays secret for long on a space station. That night, Sari had another strange feeling. She woke up from her sleep, her body cold, even though the room was warm. "I felt it again," she whispered. "Someone reaching for me." Tamil checked the walls. Nothing seemed wrong. But then he saw a blinking light near the vent, a small dot, barely the size of a button. He tapped his wristband and called Rel. Rel arrived quickly. When he saw the dot, he frowned. "It's a tracker," he said, "but not one of ours." He took it away and crushed it under his boot. "Someone knows your every move," Rel said. Sari looked at Tamil. "We have to leave sooner." The commander agreed. "You'll leave tomorrow morning." He said, "We've already prepared." The ship. The next day, just before sunrise, Tamil and Sari boarded a small silver shuttle. The engines were quiet. The inside was clean and simple. 2 guards and a trusted pilot joined them. As the shuttle pulled away from the station, Sari looked back one last time. "Do you think we'll be safe on Avella?" she asked. Tamil squeezed her hand. "If not, we'll find another place. I'll take you anywhere, as long as we're together." The stars passed by slowly as they entered deep space. For a while, all was calm. But after several hours, the pilot spoke through the intercom. "We're being followed." Tamil stood up and walked to the front. On the screen, he saw a dark ship. Behind them, it had no lights, no signal. But it was coming fast. "Can we outrun them?" Tamil asked. "I don't think so," the pilot replied. "They know what they're doing." The guards prepared their weapons. Tamil helped Sari into a safety seat. The pilot tried to contact nearby ships, but the signal was blocked. Suddenly, the dark ship fired a net-like beam. It wrapped around their shuttle and pulled them in like a fish on a line. The ship shook. Lights flickered. "We're caught," said the pilot. Tamil held Sari close. "Whatever happens, stay behind me." The dark ship pulled them into a docking bay. The hatch opened with a loud hiss, for figures stepped in. They wore black armor. Their faces were hidden behind masks. One of them stepped forward and spoke in a strange voice. "You have what does not belong to either of you." Tamil stepped forward. "She belongs to no one, and neither does our child. You broke laws." The masked figure said, "You crossed lines that were never meant to be crossed." "We didn't plan it," Sari said from behind Tamil. "But we won't let you destroy it." The figures raised their weapons. Before anyone could fire, one of the guards from the shuttle threw a flash device. A blinding light filled the room. Tamil pulled Sari and ran. The guards fired, giving them cover. The pilot shouted, "Back to the ship." Now, they rushed back into the shuttle. The engines were ready. As soon as the hatch closed, the pilot fired. The thrusters. The shuttle tore free from the net and burst out of the docking bay, back in space. The dark ship tried to follow, but something strange happened. A larger vessel appeared in front of them. It was the guardian ship of Avella. "You are under protection of Avella," a voice said through the channel. "Stand down or be destroyed." The dark ship stopped, then turned, then vanished. Tamil and Sari were safe for now. The Guardian ship escorted them to Avella. A green world full of forests and tall mountains dot as they landed. The keeper Doral waited to greet them. "You're welcome here," she said. "Your child may change history. But first, you must rest." Tamil looked at Sari. Her face was tired, but peaceful. For the first time in weeks, they both felt safe. But far above, in the shadows of the stars, other eyes were still watching, and they were not done yet. The morning on Avella was calm. The wind moved gently across the green fields. Strange birds flew in the sky, their wings shining in the soft sunlight. In a quiet home near the Avellan Mountains, Tamil stood by a large window, watching the sunrise. His thoughts were full. Inside the room behind him, Sari was resting. Her pregnancy had reached its final stage. The doctors had said that the baby could come at any time now. Tamil turned when he heard her voice. "Did you sleep at all?" Sari asked gently. Tamil shook his head. "I kept thinking, what if they find us again?" "They will try," Sari replied. "But we're stronger now. We have the protection of Avella, and we have something even stronger than that." Tamil walked over and held her hand. "Our child." Just then, there was a soft knock on the door. It was Keeper Doral. "The Council of Avella would like to meet you both," she said. "They want to understand what makes your child so important and how they can help." Sari nodded. "Let me get ready." Later that day, they entered a large white hall. At the center sat 5 members of the Avellan Council. They were tall, calm, and wore long robes made from natural silk. One of them, a man named Elrin, spoke first. "We welcome you, Sari of Vellari and Tamil of Earth. Your bond is not only rare, it is something that may change the path of many species." Another member, a woman named Mora, added, "Our scientists have studied the child's energy pattern. It is unlike anything we've seen. A mix of Vellari light and human strength. And something new that we cannot name." Tamil looked worried. "Is it dangerous?" "No," Elrin said quickly. "But others may see it as a threat or a tool. That is why we must protect it." Sari looked up. "What do you plan to do?" "We wish to keep you hidden here until the child is born," Mora said. "And afterward, help you raise it safely. But we must warn you. The news of your child has spread farther than we thought. Other systems have started asking questions." Tamil stood firm. "We don't want the child to be studied. We don't want them to be used. You have our word," Elrin said. "The child will be free." The next few days passed quietly. Sari spent her time resting in the garden, while Tamil worked with local scientists who were building a special shield around their home. One night, as the stars covered the sky, Sari felt something inside her shift. "It's time," she whispered. Tamil helped her quickly. Doctors arrived. The room was filled with soft lights, calm voices, and careful hands. The birth was not easy. There were moments of silence, then moments of panic. The doctors had never delivered a child like this before. But Sari stayed strong. Tamil never left her side. After hours of pain and courage, a soft cry filled the room. It was the voice of a new life. Tamil held his breath as he looked at the baby. She had soft skin, bright eyes, and a small glowing mark on her forehead, a sign of her Vellari blood. But there was something else too, a quiet strength in her hands, a peace in her face. "She's perfect," Sari whispered, tears in her eyes. They named her Lyra. That evening, the Avellan Council visited in person. Each of them looked at the child with great respect. Moore spoke softly. "The galaxy has waited for something like this. A child of unity, a child of peace," Elrin added. "But not all will see her this way. Some will want to control her. Some will fear her. We must prepare." Tamil held Lyra close. "We will protect her, no matter what." Over the next few weeks, Lyra grew faster than expected. The doctors said her body was adapting quickly to both human and Vellari traits. She could already focus her eyes. She could even lift her small hands and sense energy in the air. But the peace didn't last. One night, the early warning system buzzed. Tamil ran outside. The shield around the house had detected an unknown ship entering Avella's space. The ship wasn't answering calls. It wasn't showing its ID. Tamil called the Avalon command center. "Who is it?" he asked. A guard replied, "We don't know, but they're not friendly." Within minutes, the council was alerted. Doral appeared through a holocall. "We believe this ship is from the Assembly," she said. "They have been watching Earth and Valari for years. If they take Lyra, we don't know what they'll do." Tamil's heart pounded. He looked back. At the house, Sari was holding Lyra, rocking her gently. "We'll move you to the deep caves," Doral said. "It's a hidden place under the mountains. No ship can scan inside." Tamil and Sari agreed at once. They left before dawn. Through secret tunnels, helped by trusted guards, they reached the ancient caves of Avella. The inside was quiet and beautiful. Glowing plants lit the path. Soft water flowed through stone pools there. Hidden from the stars, they waited. Sari sat beside a small fire, holding Lyra close. "She's sleeping," she said. "Even with all the fear around us, she sleeps." Tamil sat next to her. "She's not afraid, because she feels us." Double quotes above. The enemy ships searched the sky, but Avella had hidden them well. As the hours passed, the council sent word. The Assembly ship had left. It couldn't find what it came for. For now, they were safe again. But everyone knew this was only the beginning. The child was born. Now the galaxy would want more than answers. The days in the Avalon caves passed slowly but peacefully. Tamil, Sari, and their daughter Lyra lived quietly, far from the eyes of the galaxy. The walls of the cave glowed with soft blue light. A calm river ran beside their small shelter. Every morning, birds sang, and gentle winds whispered through the stones. But peace never stays forever. Even though the enemy ship had gone, news of the child had spread far. Rumors traveled from system to system. Some believed the child was a weapon. Others said she was a miracle. Many leaders wanted to find out the truth. One morning, Doral arrived with serious news. "The High Galactic Assembly is calling for a summit," she said. "They are demanding to meet the child." Tamil frowned. "Why now?" "They believe the child may change the balance of power," Doral explained. "They're scared of what she might become." Sari held Lyra close. "She's just a baby. They can't judge her like that." Doral nodded. "That's why we want you to come. Show them she's not a danger. Show them she's a bridge between species." After much thought, Tamil and Sari agreed. They didn't want to live hiding forever. If there was a chance to make peace, they had to try. So, the journey began. They traveled in a hidden Avalon ship, guarded by trusted pilots. The summit was being held on a neutral planet called Verlon. It was a quiet world known for peace talks. Delegates from more than 50 species were coming. As the ship entered orbit, Sari looked at Tamil. "Are we ready?" He held her hand. "We don't have to be ready. We just have to be honest." When they arrived at the grand hall, hundreds of eyes turned toward them. The hall was large and bright, with tall windows and golden lights. Each species had its own seat. Some looked curious, others looked angry. A few looked afraid. At the center stood the assembly chair, a tall figure from the Lunari species. "You may speak," the chair said calmly. Tamil stepped forward. He held Lyra in his arms. Sari stood beside him. "My name is Tamil. I'm human. This is Sari, from Valari, and this is our daughter, Lyra." A soft wave of whispers filled the hall. "She is not a weapon," Tamil continued. "She is not a mistake. She is a child of two worlds, a symbol of what we can become if we stop fearing each other." One delegate, a hard-looking man from the Zona race, stood up. "She has powers we don't understand. How can we trust that she won't destroy what we build?" Sari stepped forward now. "Do you fear every child that is born with a gift? Or only when that child is not from your world?" The hall went silent. Doral stepped in. "The child has shown no signs of violence. In fact, she has healed a wounded animal just by touch. Her energy is pure. We ask that you don't judge her before she's grown." Another delegate stood up, a woman from the Aurelian people. "What if this child is the future we've been waiting for?" she asked. "We fight wars over borders and pride. What if unity was the answer all along?" The room began to change. Some delegates nodded. Others still looked unsure. But they were listening now. At that moment, Lyra reached out her small hand. Toward the chair, a soft glow surrounded her fingers. The glow spread through the room like a warm breeze. Tension faded, eyes softened. Even the Zoner delegate sat down quietly. "She's showing us peace," someone whispered. The chair stepped down from his seat. He walked toward Tamil and Sari. He looked at Lyra, then at her parents. "I see no threat." The chair said, "Only a child with a future that belongs to all of us." The room slowly began to applaud. It started softly but grew louder. For the first time in many years, the assembly stood in unity. After the summit, many changes followed. Lyra was given protection by a new council, formed by humans, Velari, and other friendly species. A peace treaty was signed between longtime enemies. New schools opened that welcomed mixed species children. Tamil and Sari decided to stay on Verlon. They wanted Lyra to grow up in a place of learning and peace. Years passed. Lyra grew into a smart and kind young girl. She could speak many languages. She loved the stars and often asked questions about the universe. People from across the galaxy came to meet her, not as a subject, but as a symbol of hope. Tamil would often take her to the top of the tall hills outside their city. They would sit together and look at the stars. "Do you think they still fear me?" she asked once. Tamil smiled. "Some might, but most look up to you now, because you showed them what's possible." Lyra nodded. "I don't want to be special. I just want to help." "That's why you are special," Tamil said. Seri joined them, her eyes warm. "You are the beginning of something good." And under the stars, with the galaxy watching, Lyra smiled. Not as a symbol, not as a mystery, but as a child born from love, and as the one who brought a galaxy together.